Morning, everyone. I hope you're well. Much like my life right now, today's devotional is going to be pretty simple. Um, I don't really have anything groundbreaking to tell you. I just have, I suppose, a little bit of insight into what God has been teaching me during this lockdown situation and ways in which I've been trying to respond to that. Um, I was reading the story of Elijah a few weeks ago, and while I'm not trying to make any comparisons of a 3 year drought and Jezebel trying to kill him to our current situation, I was really struck by there's a moment when Elijah goes out into the wilderness to hide, and he sits under a tree, and this is like real short summary of a very long tale. Basically, he's just reached his wit's end, and he goes out into the wilderness to hide, sits under a tree, and says to God, "I've had enough. I've had enough." Now, this lockdown situation has been going on for around 7 weeks now, and I hit that "I've had enough" moment pretty quickly, probably about 3 weeks in, where it took Elijah 3 years to reach his breaking point. Now, those situations are clearly very, very different. My point is that I imagine the emotions are somewhere along a similar vein. At the beginning of all this, I tried to be really positive about it, set a really good study pattern, plan lots of activities for the kids, plan like a workout schedule for me and Tim, and ultimately it was just none of those things were bad in themselves. In fact, they're very good things to do. But for me, I quickly realized that what I was doing was trying to fill my day with distractions, and not really addressing the fear and the anxiety I still have around this whole coronavirus thing. Um, I'm really missing my parents. I really miss my sister. She's 6 months pregnant, and um, 7 weeks is just a really long time to not see someone that you care about, especially when they're going through, pregnancy, everything changes so quickly, and to not be able to walk that with her is it's just really sad. I really miss my little niece every time I get a photo of her. She's like twice the size of what I remembered her as before. I miss my nephews. I miss Esther playing with them. I miss Esther playing with her other friends. I miss my friends. It's just a really weird situation where fear and anxiety for me can take a foothold really quickly. And the thing I think I probably find hardest is there's not being able to see them, but still being able to still getting the opportunity to talk to them, is while I should count that as a blessing that we have all this technology, but I've actually found it really, really difficult. Hearing from them, hearing the things that they're struggling with, or hearing situations taking place that normally I could be really practical and helpful in. And now the practical side of me has been taken away. It's locked up in this house. And mentally I find that quite a struggle. It's selfish. I know it's selfish because ultimately I'm just thinking about how their situation affects me. But hearing from them having tough times and feeling really helpless in the whole situation, I noticed a bit of a pattern of me just starting to pull away from those situations, from those opportunities to engage with my friends and my family. And it's not because I don't love them. In fact, it's the complete opposite. Is because I love them that it hurts to hear from them and not do the things I would normally do for them in those situations. Like go visit them, like have dinner together, look after the kids, playing with the kids, etc., etc. Just all those things that instead I'm stuck in this house with nothing practical to offer. So one thing that God has kind of slapped me in the face with is just that awareness that when I make room for fear and anxiety, when I allow that to enter in without that of course we are going to get struck down with those things. Of course we're going to be fearful. Of course we're going to have moments of doubt and panic. But it's what we do in those moments. And I've just been very clearly made aware that that when I experience those things and I don't take them to God, the thing that gets moved out of the way to make room for that fear and anxiety is my faith. Ultimately, it seems to be the first thing to go, and that's where I suffer the most. I want to read a short psalm, which I know, it's just a couple of verses, and I know you'll have heard it before, but we're going to read it again. Psalm 55, verses 16 and 17 say, "As for me, I call to God, and the Lord saves me. Evening, morning, and noon, I cry out in distress, and he hears my voice." There's not an awful lot to explain with this verse, other than to tell you that this verse has pushed me towards God probably more forcibly in lockdown than any other time, when my practicality is stripped away, and all the usual sort of crutches that I use to control how I'm feeling. If all that's taken away, what's left? I found myself praying more than I ever have because of coronavirus. Fear over my friends and my family getting sick. It took for God to take away all those like go-to fixes that I would use, which, don't hear me wrong, please don't hear me wrong, those are ways that we can show love and support to our family and our friends. And when this whole lockdown situation ends, I will be straight back there. If there's something that my loved ones need and I can provide it, of course I will do that. We would all do that. If and where you can, you always try, and I mean that's partly what we're called to do, but I suppose the thing that's come to the forefront in all this is that practicality, I've been made very aware, is a way in which I show people that I love them. If you can do something nice for them, it's a lovely thing to do. But I suppose what has been made very aware to me is that prayer, it maybe comes third, fourth, or fifth, or even lower on that list of practical things that I can do. And why is that? It took for God to take all of those things away, and a good few weeks of missing those things, like getting to see the people that I love and do all the normal pattern. It took for all that to be taken away for a few weeks for me to realise that prayer is and should be my starting point. It's the best thing that I can offer. It's the best thing I can do for myself, is spend time with God. I call to God. The verse says that I call to God and he saves me. Just like Elijah sitting under his tree, I cry out in distress, and I say I've had enough, and the Lord hears my voice. Tim and I went to the cinema a few months ago. Remember the cinema? We saw a film called A Beautiful Day in the Neighbourhood, which is, if you haven't seen it, there's a wee lockdown treat for you. It's about the main character, Fred Rogers. I think it was Fred Rogers, who was an American TV, kids TV presenter, played by Tom Hanks. And there's this really wonderful scene in it where he's praying beside his bed before he goes to sleep. And he doesn't have this big, long, drawn out prayer full of like amazing, like great words or like snappy phrases. He simply, he carries around a little notebook and he takes note of the people that he meets, that he wants to pray for. And then in those quiet moments in his bedroom in the evening, he just simply brings those names before God. Nothing more than that. I bawled my lumps out whenever I saw it. There was something just so simple, truly beautiful, and so loving in just saying someone's name aloud for God to hear. So with all of this, with the kind of when COVID-19 gets too loud, when it feels really overwhelming, when I've kind of lost my footing and it all just feels too large for me, that has been a really helpful starting point to just go back to what that psalm says, calling out to God in distress, bringing those people that I care for and myself before God. It's really not much more complicated than that. But it's been really, really helpful in just almost resetting my mindset and pushing myself towards God and not away from Him. So I encourage you to try it. If I spoke to a few friends and we were chatting about praying, and for some it's been a real time to flourish, to really I mean, we've all the time in the day, so spending long periods of time praying to God, and for others this has been a real obstacle in their prayer life. I definitely fall into that category. And the thing to remember with all of this is, we're not bringing any new information to God. We're not trying to tell Him anything that He doesn't already know. It's not like you're presenting the facts and then saying, all right, God, what are you going to do about it? This is an opportunity to really strengthen our relationship with God. God wants to hear from us. And just as that psalm says, we cry out to God and He saves us. I call to God and He saves me. I cry out in distress and He hears my voice. I find real comfort in that. And I hope you do too. I hope that blesses you in some way. Yeah, nice to see you all over a screen again. Bye.